Welcome back to the Stocks Update. In today's deep dive, we're going to explore what's been happening with Lucid Group LCID, a major player in the EV industry. We'll break down all the latest data, provide key insights, and explore what might be behind the recent movements in Lucid's stock price, even in the absence of any company-specific news. So, buckle up and let's dive into everything you need to know about Lucid today. Lucid stock has experienced a slight uptick of 1.3%, trading around $2.80. Over the past day, the price has fluctuated between a low of $2.40 and a high of approximately $2.80. This movement isn't tied to any major press release or announcement directly from Lucid Motors. Instead, the broader stock market trends and macroeconomic developments appear to be playing a role in this mild rally. Today, the market has been digesting a combination of economic data, including new housing permits and jobless claims. The data shows 215,000 new unemployment claims versus the expected 227,000, indicating a slightly stronger than anticipated job market. This aligns somewhat with Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's recent comments, suggesting that while the economy remains resilient, he's keeping a close eye on rising tariffs and their potential to slow down growth. Speaking of tariffs, former President Donald Trump is scheduled to speak at 1 p.m. today. Investors are bracing for potential policy statements, especially those that could impact global trade or electric vehicle supply chains. Powell has already signaled that rising tariffs could slow economic activity, and for a company like Lucid, this could mean ongoing disruptions in sourcing materials and components. Lucid, like many automakers, relies on a global network of suppliers. Even minor interruptions in that network can delay production timelines and increase costs. Derek Jenkins, Lucid's Senior VP of Design and Brand, highlighted yesterday that if everything stays stable with no further complications, Lucid's midsize sedan is still on track for release next year. However, if trade tensions escalate, supply chain timelines could face delays for years. In brighter news, Lucid Motors recently received significant recognition within the electric vehicle industry. The company was named the top luxury electric vehicle brand for the fourth consecutive year. This recognition is part of a broader survey that assessed 13 different electric vehicles across various performance metrics. Lucid's flagship sedan, the Lucid Air, stood out for its impressive driving range, powerful performance, and futuristic interior design. While some critics noted that the cabin may not feel as premium as competing brands and that higher-end trims come with steep price tags, Lucid still managed to outperform others in the luxury EV category. Past reviews have echoed similar sentiments. Lucid vehicles are technologically advanced, visually stunning, and offer excellent range, but are often priced at a premium. Additional critiques included user interface complexity, touchscreen overload, and the fact that the most refined interior features usually come only in top-tier trims. One of the more interesting metrics to watch with Lucid stock is short interest activity. Recently, we've seen short sellers return roughly 3.8 million shares during pre-market trading hours. However, later in the day, 2 million shares were returned. This kind of short covering is common before long weekends when the stock market is closed. To provide some context, short sellers borrow shares and sell them at the current price, hoping to buy them back later at a lower price. When a long weekend approaches, they often buy back shares early to avoid paying additional borrowing fees over the holiday. This can lead to temporary price increases as short sellers cover their positions. Currently, about 23.1% of Lucid's free-floating shares are being shorted, which equates to around 280.75 million shares. That's a high level of short interest and could set the stage for significant volatility, especially if Lucid releases any positive updates in the near future. Now let's talk about what's going on in the options market. As of just 1 hour into today's trading session, we've seen about 189,000 call options and 22,000 put options traded for Lucid stock. That suggests that 57% of today's options activity is bullish in nature, at least in early trading. Option traders appear to be positioning around key price levels. The $2.50 mark is particularly critical. Bulls are hoping the stock remains above this point, while bears are eyeing a drop below. There's significant open interest at the $2 and $2.50 strike prices, 17K and 28K contracts respectively, but it's unlikely that Lucid's price will swing enough to hit either of those levels today. With today being Thursday and the market closed tomorrow, it's essentially the last trading day of the week. That adds to the uncertainty and makes any price movement more impactful than usual. When we look at institutional activity, especially trades happening behind the scenes, there's some intriguing information. For instance, one notable transaction involved a $648K sell order, which was likely a short sell that caused a brief drop in Lucid's price. However, on the dark pool side, where large institutional trades happen away from public exchanges, we've seen some sizable buys. 4 major transactions totaling over $1.4 million suggest that hedge funds or large financial institutions may be accumulating Lucid shares, while the price is still relatively low. Dark pool activity is typically used by large players who want to avoid moving the market with big trades. These transactions are often seen as indicators of institutional sentiment. On the technical chart, Lucid appears to be consolidating. It recently attempted to break above its 50-day moving average, but was unable to maintain the momentum, bouncing off resistance instead. The stock is now hovering around the $2.33 mark, a crucial pivot point. If Lucid can close above this level, it may pave the way for a push toward $2.55. On the downside, if it falls below $2.11, we could see further weakness. That $2.20 range will be important to monitor. A decisive move below could indicate a falling knife scenario, where the stock continues to decline without solid support. On the earnings front, there's not much new to report. Forecasts for Lucid's upcoming earnings remain unchanged, and there haven't been any fresh analyst upgrades or downgrades this week. The most recent analyst activity came from Bank of America 3 days ago. No new articles or media coverage are making waves either, leaving investors with little to react to in terms of fundamental news. As a result, the market is primarily being driven by speculation, short-term sentiment, and macroeconomic developments, especially trade policies. For now, investors are in a holding pattern. Everyone is waiting to see how the tariff situation unfolds, especially with Trump's speech scheduled later today. Will it signal escalation, or will it reassure markets and bring stability to the EV industry? We can only wait and see, but waiting is never easy in the stock market. It's one of the hardest things for retail investors to do, especially when there's so much uncertainty. But if you're a long-term believer in Lucid's vision and technology, this could be a prime opportunity to accumulate shares at a discount. Historically, the best time to invest in any company tends to be during periods of market doubt before profitability kicks in. While Lucid's path to profitability is still unclear, its continued recognition as a leading EV brand shows the potential is there. If you believe in the future of Lucid Motors and the electric vehicle space, this might be a great time to consider buying the dip. The fundamentals remain strong, and despite short-term noise, Lucid continues to build its brand and expand its technology. That said, always make sure to do your own research and manage your risk accordingly. We'll continue to monitor Lucid and bring you updates as new developments emerge. Let me know what you think about Lucid's recent performance. Are you buying, holding, or waiting on the sidelines? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps us continue to bring you in-depth market analysis. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.